Twitch, adjust my headset, send out Twitter, get everything in here, and I think we are good. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is May 1st, and this is the May 1st TextQuest Devstream. So, today we are going to be continuing our work with not custom adventures, with combat refactors. And we're going to start by giving you a quick update on where we are. There have been a couple of interesting things that I figured out since the last combat dev stream, which is, one, I did figure out how to make custom editors for tracks, but I didn't actually end up I wasn't able to use those because tracks are they're assets and they are pure assets, so even using exposed references doesn't let you really do much. So I can assign data to tracks using things from the project, but I can't do anything like assign references from the scene to tracks, it seems. But it does seem like there's a way to retrieve information about the director for the track. It's a little bit awkward because you have to get a component on the game object that gets passed into the track. And to show you what that looks like, let's go to, let's see, track. We don't need the editor. Go ahead and close that. Here we go. So in the create track mixer function, there is a game object that gets passed in, and that game object is the playable director that is playing the timeline. So you can get the director from that just by doing game object or go.getComponent, and it will give you the playable director as well as any other components that you want on that, and that's kind of nice, but it's also just kind of weird that this was how I chose to do it. I don't know why that's just not an accessible thing. Well, what are you going to do? So we do have it actually skipping to the end of cutscenes that involve multiple sections, and I guess I'll go ahead and show you that. So let's go ahead, make sure that everything's highlighted. So you can see here's our left cutscene. It has both a defense and an offensive section clip. Both labels do show up. I've lengthened it a fair amount because actually it was originally set at I think like 7 seconds for the for the offense track and about 3 seconds for the defense track, and that was just like way too short. So let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and play. Take you through combat from start to the end of the second phase. Well, the end of the second round, I guess. It's not really a phase, it's not really a stance. And we're going to keep it in not maximized mode for now so that you can actually see the timeline play out. We're going to go through here. So if we type left, it instantly does it, and we're going to say this is an attack. Okay, so it's a little hard to see that unless you were focusing at the time in the timeline. I should have told you to do that. But essentially, we can wait for all possible attack section. Oh, what happened to Twitch over here? Interesting. My Twitch page went down. So we can actually listen to multiple sections, multiple offense or defense or both or or a bunch of attack ones. It doesn't really matter. We can listen to an arbitrary number of attack section clips on a given track, and then once they're all completed, they will jump to the end and we can progress. I have started setting up behavior for doing things like, let's go ahead and stop playing, and we'll just look at this. We have fail on interaction, so if you fail to actually type in the attack by the time it ends, then that will trigger a fail state, which will kick you out to a fail cutscene, and then that'll bump you back to the idle menu. So that's kind of the way I'm thinking of having this work. We don't have that set up yet. That is something I would like to do. We're probably not going to get to that tonight because tonight I want to focus on some minor transition effects. Mostly, let's go ahead and run through this again so I can talk through that. Mostly I need to do things like fade labels out once they've been completed. Currently they stay there until everything's completed. So let's go ahead and skip through here. Go ahead and do our battle. I also guess I can go ahead and maximize on play here. So if I type left, that progresses automatically, and I'm going to pause here so I can talk. That's expected because in an attack choice where you get to choose a direction you want to go, as soon as you type it, it should just be done with that and then move to the next phase. But in a case like this, where I have an attack on the left and then I'm going to have a defensive attack on the right, it shouldn't progress until all of them have been typed out, basically. So I'm going to type, this is an attack, then dodge. But you'll notice that none of them faded out until all of them had completed. But I don't actually want to do that because that clutters the screen up a bit, especially for things like defense, where the idea is for defensive attacks, they might be moving towards you to sort of give you the impression that they're like an arrow or a projectile of some kind. So I can't really have them just kind of free float there. I need to have them move, possibly be able to move. And the other thing is that once you type them in, they should either fade out completely, or in the case of an attack selection, it should half fade out so that you remember what attack choice you made. And these are kind of weird issues to think about, but they're important for making sure that, one, if I have a sequence where there's like 15 different defense attacks coming towards you, that they don't just clutter up the screen and make it impossible to see. And two, if you type in your attack first and then you have to defend yourself, it's important that you know which route you will be going. But it's not so important that it needs to be completely opaque. So I think what I'm planning on doing there is cross-fading out your selected attack down to like 50% opacity, and then any defensive strikes that you complete will be completely transparent. They'll just go away, similar to what you would expect. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to select my defense section clip. So we might... I think what we'll want to do is whenever we complete an attack based on either defense, whether it's a defensive attack or an offensive attack, we'll need to have the behavior tell the attack label, geez, these things are really nested, whether it should fade out completely or just part way. Which probably means that we'll actually want to have different prefabs now that I think about it. Let me go ahead and go over here to my basic attack. So this is the shared attack label that I'm using for everything, but it might be good for us to have options on this that will let us handle fading out. Oh geez, finally. Sorry, for a while Discord has been updating and it just like finally finished updating for some reason. That took forever. Oh, and I guess before I forget, aha! I kind of want to do design too. I feel like I should really have both of those up. Both of those up for the combat refactor. So let's see. I am going to select my defense section clip. Let's go ahead and open this up. Except we don't actually want the clip. We want the let's see, not attack section clip because that is also not really useful. We'll get rid of you, and we want, where are you? Here we are, defense section behavior. So let's see. We can potentially tell the label to fade out here, but what should happen? Well, I guess that's the question. Do I want to have the behavior tell the label to fade out, or should I have the label automatically do that itself? It's kind of tricky. Let's find all references here. We should have this. Yeah, so fade out coroutine, find all references. Let me see where I'm currently calling this from. This is currently called when the behavior is paused. Okay. So basically when we get to the end of the track, or the end of that clip in particular, it's going to go through all of its labels and tell them that they should stop. But I could tell them, well, no. So that this is part of the weird thing is that I can't really have, I guess, different values for that. I need to have new values on our attack labels, I think, for this, because I don't want to make it so that I can set the label to fade out only halfway, but then it will only ever fade out halfway, because I need it to also, once the timeline has completed, all of them need to go completely away. They need to fade out all the way. So, how do I want to structure this then? Let's see. Misspell information. That's not actually that useful. I'm going to take a look at my inspectors here and decide which one would be best, I guess. So this is what the attack inspector looks like. It's getting pretty long. I guess I yeah, I guess it would make more sense for us to just have a function that I can call, and then at the end we'll just call our expected stop attack, and that will fade it out all the way. Um, yeah, that's not too bad. So that does mean we're going to need another coroutine though, which is kind of annoying. So we have fade in coroutine, fade out coroutine, and I guess I will just straight up have a fade coroutine. So let's go ahead and say protected virtual enumerator fade coroutine float duration float alpha. Okay, so what we're going to want to do here is basically cache whatever our existing canvas alpha is, and then just lerp to it over a duration, or lerp to the target alpha over a duration. So we'll say float current alpha is equal to canvas group dot alpha. Then we're going to want to say float t is equal to 0f, while t is less than, not duration, less than 1f. We're going to say t plus equals time, if I can spell time, dot delta time divided by duration. And then we're going to say yield return null. And after that, we're going to say canvas group dot alpha is equal to mathf dot lerp from current alpha to alpha based on t. So that should allow us to fade our alpha. Now we need to have a public function that we can call here. So we're going to say activate attack, check input. Actually, I also don't think that this needs to be a virtual enumerator. It's probably fine. Yeah, we'll leave it as virtual for now. And I'm going to go up to here, refresh label. Here we are. I'm going to go ahead and just say public void fade label. This will be our float duration, float alpha, and then we'll just say start coroutine, fade coroutine duration alpha. Now we are going to we're probably going to need some safety checks in here, because if we try to fade our label and then we try to fade it out all the way, like if those two things happen relatively close to one another, we need to make sure that we cancel this fade label coroutine. So that means I'm going to want to go to, where are you? Start attack, here we are. So on stop attack, I probably should go, actually, let's see, the only coroutines that I have are attack misspell coroutine, fade coroutine, and hazard coroutine. That sucks. Okay, so I'm going to actually do this. I need to store the coroutine for this. So I'm going to go ahead and say private coroutine. We're going to call this fade coroutine. Okay. We're going to go down to stop attack, and I'm going to say if fade coroutine, oh, not that, if fade coroutine does not equal null, stop coroutine, fade coroutine. Okay, so that should stop that, and then I'm going to come down here and change my fade label to do pretty much the same thing. We're going to say if fade coroutine does not equal null, stop coroutine, fade coroutine, and then we're going to set fade coroutine to be equal to this. So fade coroutine is equal to that. Okay. So that should prevent us from having any weird overlapping fades going on. And now in defense section behavior and offense, actually no, we don't need it in defense section behavior, we just need it in offense section behavior. So in offense section behavior, I am going to. Oh, geez, that sucks. Frack. Okay. Shoot. So crap. This got weird. I have no way of knowing on my offense or defensive sections if there are other sections in play. So this won't really affect defense section very much. Actually, no, it will because defense section should completely go away. Frack. Okay. So I need to figure out a way to communicate. Ah, jeez. How many attack sections there are? Oh, but there's no way of knowing if they're overlapping. Um, Crap. Do I have to move this to the mixer? So I could, in theory, move these to the mixer, but that really, really is not what I want to do. Oh dear. Ah, I am not sure what the best course to use here. I'm going to take a drink to stall for time. So, so it's not ideal, um, but if I trying to organize this a little bit, I could change my complete attack to send an event that is not just the attack section behavior, but is also the label. No, that doesn't really make much sense. Crap. Maybe it's irrelevant, actually, now that I think about it, because all that would mean is that if I have my offense section start fading out the label, and it was a single one, which would instantly complete the attack, then all that would do is start the coroutine, but then immediately stop it, and then start the full fade out. So, let's try that, I guess. We'll go ahead and say label dot fade label, and we'll just fade this out to, I don't know, 1f. So over the course of 1 second, we'll make it 0.5f. So half alpha, and let's see what that looks like, and if it causes problems or not. So ideally, what should happen here is the first cutscene where we just have left or right. It shouldn't look any different. As soon as we type left, it should just fade out completely. But in the second section, when we have this is an attack and dodge, once I type this is an attack, it should fade out halfway, and the defense label, I guess, will not fade out. Well, it will once both of them are completed, but um, it's not gonna do anything until we actually handle that part, though. I'm just curious to see if the attack will look right or good. I guess I don't know if it'll look right because I don't know what right is yet. Yeah, okay, that kind of worked. And then nothing happened. Interesting. Huh. Oh, you know what? You know what I bet happened? I bet that because this is buddy never. Okay, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna go to my base attack section behavior here. Go to definition. I'm gonna add an override function for on graph stop, and all I'm gonna do is just check to see if I'm playing, and if I am, then I'm going to basically just call on behavior pause. So let's go ahead and override this. We're going to say override on graph stop, because it's really infuriating that it just doesn't work. It doesn't call on behavior pause if it's the last behavior in the graph. I don't know why they set it up like that. That's infuriating. So this does unfortunately mean that I need to have a bool, I think, keeping track of my play state. And let's see, on behavior pause. Did I just call this function directly, or am I going to have to move that crap into a third-party thing? I'm going to have to move it into a third-party thing. Boo. Boo on you, sir. Okay. Let's get rid of this. And on behavior pause. Ugh. Great. Well, I need a bool, so I'm going to have to do protected bool is active. Ugh. Is equal to false. So on behavior play is active is equal to true. And for on behavior pause, we'll say is active. Oh, that didn't work well. Is equal to false. And then we'll say here on graph stop if is active. Geez, do I do anything with this? I don't. So, geez. I suppose that means that I'm going to want to have a function here then. That's kind of annoying. On attack begin, on attack backspace complete. I do not know why I've been yawning so much recently. Maybe I don't get enough sleep. Let's see. New function. What would I call this? Cleanup. It's kind of annoying that I have to have a separate function for this. But I don't have duplicate code. I wonder if I could actually call on behavior pause and just pass it a null value. On behavior pause. Playable. Null. Can I do that? Ah, it's a non-nullable. I don't do anything with it, so maybe I can get away with this. Maybe. Let's find out. Because, I mean, all I need to do is basically call on behavior pause, so I don't see any reason why I couldn't just do that. Let's find out. Also, this is a very annoying thing that I've been dealing with recently, but it seems like the scriptable objects I'm using to drive my, what's it called? My hazard choice behavior are not really doing what I would expect because they're not clearing themselves up properly, so I get these weird states. Fortunately, I can clear them by hitting clear labels, but it's kind of annoying that that's the case. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because they're scriptable objects and therefore they persist, but it's very annoying either way. Okay, so we get our troll staring blankly at us. Get our battle animations. Go ahead and go attack. Right, choose left. Okay. Why do you not go away? Is it because... Okay, this is rather annoying. Okay, let's go to... I'm going to throw in a test here, I guess. I'm going to debug this. This isn't going to be great, but I guess I'll do this. Hold on. .text .string builder output is equal to new blah blah blah. We'll say stop colon new line, and all I'm going to do here is I'm going to debug output.toString all of the labels that are being contained by this attack section, and I want to make sure that, I don't know, the labels aren't null for some reason. That'd be weird. It's possible they're getting cleared without me knowing it. So I'm going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than labels.count, I plus plus, output dot append, and we're just going to say labels of I dot name. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and say output dot append a new line char. Cool. So that should Actually, I guess I should do it in reverse here, shouldn't I? So that should let us see the labels in the attack group, make sure that they're correct. And because of the debug behavior that I set up for these labels, they should have the name or the value of their message, the string that's shown in the name, because I did that for debug purposes. And I will be very happy when that's the case. Oh, come on, see? So we go back here, you'll see that these now are empty. I have no idea why you're not cleaning yourself up properly. It's very annoying, though. And it only seems to ever be the background color one, too, which could be because that's the only one that's referencing a part of the label, but all right. Let's see this. Try battling again. I'm gonna go left. This is an attack. Okay, so we got nothing on that. Did we get anything? We have... Interesting. Interesting. Nothing came of it. Which means that that didn't get called. Hooray! That means we're doing the fun time of having... Ugh, on graph. Stop! I mean, we did set is active and all that, right? I didn't do something stupid? No, that's correct. Okay. So I guess we'll do... Oh, I guess I should probably also say if... Oh, come on. If application.is plain and is active. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just debug.log graph stop. Now the downside to this is that it's not really gonna help me that much if the defense section behavior is also logging that. So I guess I'm going to try to move this over to only offense section behavior. I'm going to override on behavior pause. We'll call based on behavior pause, and then I'll just debug this. And we'll say behavior stop. Okay, wrap that all up if application is plain. Alright. Let's see. I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of debugging in timeline, just because it's kind of awkward to try and get out actual information, and you don't really have a quite as convenient of a way of accessing things. Let's go ahead and close this, hit play. I probably should add a provision. Well, no, that's really stupid. Why would I? I'm curious when we fight if the right label will not have its. Yep. If there's a null reference, it just breaks. Okay. I am a little concerned that this is actually doing multiple coroutines to fade this, and they're just never stopping. Oh, interesting. So we have two stops where nothing happens, and we never get to this. We never get to behavior stop. Right? Yep, that is correct. Which we also never get to graph stop, do we? Okay, so neither the graph is... So the graph is not stopping, and therefore the behavior is not stopping. Ugh, really? Wait, hold on. Was I putting that in the wrong? No, I wasn't. Here we go, attack section behavior. Interesting. I have to assume that is active is being set to false. But it's this is frustrating. I am going to test something real quick, and that is going to be, let's see, attack section behavior. Yes, it should be here. We are going to nope, I lied. I did this in offense section behavior. I'm going to put in a debug here. Oh, no, that doesn't make sense either. We'll try this anyway. I'm going to just put in a debug.log. Angry Irishman. That's a terrible name. Oh man, nope, moments passed. As I said, I could take that two ways. I could make that a joke that's offensive or a joke that's not, and I froze up. Either way, welcome back, Sky. How are you doing tonight? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and debug the name of the label again. So I'm going to say label.name, and I'm mostly going to do this because I want to see if it gets called multiple times. Because if you pay attention to the fading that happens when we complete our attack label, it seems to go in bands, not in a smooth gradient, which makes me think that it is that multiple coroutines are starting and stopping on it, which is weird but conceivable to me. So I'm also going to go ahead and clear out these labels. We really need to do something about that, though. I wonder if I should put these scriptable objects in a list and then on validate just flush them, basically. It's fine for now. I can just manually do it. Just chilling. 2 weeks till exams. That's not a lot of weeks till exams. But at least it's more than 1 week. Do you have anything really big that you have to finish? Okay, so we're going to go left. This is an attack. All right. So let's see. No, that only gets called once. Oh, but this time behavior stop did get called 3 times, which is not correct. Wait, no, it is. It is. There were 3 attacks, and we only did that on attack. So interesting. But that actually doesn't mean anything. I'm going to try finishing this in reverse order. So I'm going to finish the defensive attack first, and then I'm going to finish the offensive attack. See what happens there. Yeah, this is the new combat system. We're refactoring it because the old one wasn't really scalable. I couldn't really make anything more interesting than just a computer that typed better. But now we're going to have kind of like puzzle elements. You can see that there are choices that you make, and those will be a lot more dynamic. Oh, crap. I'm going to backspace that. Okay. This one does not. Okay, so I think that it's stomping on it. Crap. All right. Well, let's test that, I guess. So I'm going to put some debugs in my attack label. That's where it is. So we're going to debug log fade. And we're going to debug. I'm also going to move this up, I think, because it kind of should probably be next to the start and end attacks. Here we are. Paste that in here. Let's put this here. Paste this in here. We'll say stop. So I want to know if my fade label is basically stomping on my stop attack or if the reverse is happening. Because in either case, well, if the reverse is happening and stop is firing after fade, then what should happen is that it should just say, hey, fade coroutine is not equal to null, so stop it, and then let's do this one. That doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know what I'm getting for exams. I'll know next week. Do you have any project exams, or are they all like tests? Let's see here. here. All right. So let's go into combat. Left. Okay. Stop came out last, which means that it should at the very least be last. I'm going to turn off collapse, make sure that we get everything. So stop is last. It comes out after fade. So... Oh, crap. Those aren't valid. I need to know what the name of the label is. So hold on. Plus name. Because for all we know, that stop could be from the Dodge label. Oh, sorry. Name. All right, let's try that again. I was gonna get rid of some of these other values getting clogged here. Okay. All tests, one paper and one vocal. Okay. Interesting. One vocal, huh? Well, while we're waiting for this to compile, and while we're doing this semi-repetitive thing to just debug out why my labels aren't fading properly, anything newsworthy? Well, it is May 1st, and Unity has failed to meet its April deadline for 2018.1. I was not sure if they were going to make it or not, but the fact that they pushed it even farther is probably not a good sign for stability. Oh, no. Okay. So, we have stop, basic attack, dodge, basic attack, fade, basic attack. This is an attack. And then nothing. It never... What the heck? How? Why? Okay. So neither stop nor... You've got to be kidding me. So, fine. We'll do this. I'm going to... If this works, I will be so angry. I cannot tell you. Okay. So, we're going to say... We're going to set our defense section clip. Fine. Not our defense section clip. I'm going to shorten this by 1 frame. 79. Let's see if that works now. If it does, I'm going to be very, very unhappy. Because it means that I'm going to have to make sure that my attack sections are never flush at all. Even graph stop does not happen at that point, which is very frustrating. Let's go ahead and go one. So yeah, Unity 2018.1 not launching on time, or well, not launching when it was reported to launch. Oops. There we go. It was that. Okay, so pro tip for anyone wondering about this. Let's see, attack section behavior. On behavior pause, not called if your behavior is basically flush with the end of the timeline. On graph stop, not called if your behavior is basically is flush with the end of the timeline. That is so freaking stupid. So dumb. So that means that is active is completely pointless here, so we can get rid of it. It's not doing anything. All right, and we can get rid of this because that debug is not necessary. Well, so, geez, that's frustrating. So very frustrating. Let's go ahead and go over to our label right up here. We'll get rid of these fades because we know that they are happening now. Save there. Okay, we'll do one more run through where I'll complete the offense section first, and then I'll finish the defense section. We'll make sure that those are working as expected, and in either order. And then once we do that, we will move on to the next task, which is we need one. I think we want success sound effects. So when you choose an attack, we probably want like a whoosh or something. Probably not really a whoosh, probably more of a. I was thinking ring, but that might be a little much. Just some sort of auditory feedback that you've completed the label. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do left. And then this is an attack. Dodge. Okay, so that was the other thing that I was worried about. You'll notice that when both labels faded out, the already partially faded attack label faded back to full opacity. Well, it didn't fade back. It snapped to full opacity, then faded out. So I actually need to change how that coroutine works. So let's see. Misspell coroutine, fade coroutine. Here we are. So with fade coroutine, or not fade coroutine, fade in coroutine, that's what we want. I basically need to make this a lerping function again, which is not really that hard. So we're just going to say float alpha is equal to canvas group dot alpha. Okay, then we're going to turn this into mathf.lerp from alpha to, this is fade in, so 1f based on our fade curve. Okay, pretty much going to do the same thing here for fade out. Boop. And then we are going to, oh, that's really stupid of me now, isn't it? We don't care about this. Okay, and then we're going to do pretty much the same thing here. We're just going to say mathf.lerp from alpha to 0f targeting fade curve. All right. So now if we complete that, it should no longer do like a little bit of a flicker. It should just fade out from where it is. We may also, actually real quick, let's go ahead and go up to attack section behavior. I'm sorry, offense section behavior. We are going to fade the label out to 0.25 instead of 0.5. I think at 0.5 it's still way too opaque. The goal of fading it out is that it needs to be something that you will not mistake as an active label. It should be something that you just can completely ignore for the most part, but can look at if you choose. Okay, I'm also going to fix this really, really annoying null reference error that I am tired of getting. But again, to show you what this problem is, it's this. These aren't clearing properly. I don't think that the other ones are clearing properly either. Well, we're not actually using that one. Hold on. I think we do letter shake and labels. Really? It's background shake. Huh. What ones am I using? None of them have labels set up, so that's weird. It's only the background one, huh? Give me a second here. Well, to show you what I'm going to do, I built in a not lock. I built in a little context menu to let us clear all of that information, but that really shouldn't be necessary. It should be automatically completed. So I am going to, let's see, where are you? I think I've set it up on our label down here on validate. Yeah. We're going to go to clean up behavior, go to definition. So do I need to make sure that that's happening? Let's see. We're looping through all of our hazards. I guess we'll go to background color behavior, clean up behavior, labels. Yeah, we just straight up don't really care. We clear everything else. This must not be getting called then, which is quite annoying indeed. Although it's weird because it seems like it's only the background color that's not getting cleared. It seems like letter shake behavior is getting cleared just fine. Then again, letter shake behavior doesn't have labels, so... Oh no, yeah, it does. Totally does. It's also got label info and all that other stuff, so that's frustrating. It's probably because it's actually not doing anything. Although that was interesting. Okay, so let's just go ahead and play real quick. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. Battle. Go left. Whoa, that was not good. What just happened there? Okay, that was not okay. No. Fade curve. What in the world? It. Go to my attack label. Coming up here, hazard coroutine, fade out coroutine. So we should lerp from alpha, which is the current alpha, to 0 on fade out, based on our fade curve, which should just do a little bit of easing. It really shouldn't affect that flicker, right? No, it would. Yeah, it would lerp from its current alpha. Interesting. Okay, let's try that again. We're gonna pay attention a little bit more closely. So what we want to look at is, excuse me, when we complete an attack, it should fade out seamlessly. And I kind of noticed this. If you remember, I remarked like did a little bit of a gasp when we completed our first section, because it looked like the left label stayed there for longer than I was expecting, and I think that's just because it's not fading properly. So if we go left, yeah, that's what are you doing? It it faded to 1 and then faded back out. What the heck? That is not even remotely correct. Attack section behavior. Is that... No, no, no. Let's go to offense section behavior. That wouldn't make sense. Even if it was like fading out while we were fading the label, what should happen is it should just grab the current alpha and then just fade out. But that doesn't seem to be happening. Am I doing something really stupid? Oh, yes, it's because I'm doing this backwards. There. That's why. That was stupid of me. Tends to happen. I forgot that I had, for my fade out, I just flipped it instead of actually lerping from 1 to 0. I was just lerping backwards along T. So this should now work as expected. At least I hope it does. That also explains why the labels were fading in and then just disappearing. It's because they were fading from 0 to 1 and then being recycled, as opposed to fading from 1 to 0, then being recycled while they are invisible. All right, so let's see this again. We're going to battle. Got our options. What the... Did they just snap in? They are totally just snapping in, aren't they? Let's play that again. It looked like the attacks were coming in way harder than I was expecting. So for fade in coroutine... Oh, crap. I know why. It's because of the... Oh, no. No. Here we are. That's why. So the problem was that their prefabs had their canvas groups set to 1 alpha. So for 1 frame, when they're spawned in, they're completely visible. So by setting that to be 0 on start, hopefully that'll fix that issue. So now they shouldn't just like snap in. They should just fade in from 0. Let's try that again. I'm going to do battle. There we are. Okay, go left here. This is an attack, followed by dodge. Nice, cool. So we got everything working. Now, we need to set up our defensive attacks to fade out completely. Which I guess means that I want... Let's see. I'm going to go to my attack section behavior. I'm going to add a float field for, I guess, completed alpha. I don't really know what else to call that, so we'll go ahead and say public float completed alpha is equal to say 0f by default. We're going to need to go to our attack section clip, which I got at least one. Go to here. We're going to go to here, serialized field, protected, float, completed alpha. Oops. Proper capitalization is equal to 0f. Not -0, just 0. Tooltip. I'm going to say the alpha to fade the label to when it is completed, and other labels still remain. Cool. And of course, before we can do anything, we need to make sure that our offense and defense section clips set those references. So let's go over here and say, oh, not that. Behavior dot completed alpha is equal to completed alpha. Go ahead and copy that. Cool. So now, if we go over to our attack section behavior, not that, offense section behavior, instead of making this a hard 0.25, we're going to make this our completed alpha. Okay. And pretty much going to just copy that and put that in. Should I put that in base on attack complete? Because both of them are doing it, so yes. Let's go ahead and get rid of this debug log too. Based on attack complete, go to definition. I guess we'll just put this right here then. Seems like it would be fine. And let's see what happens. I am going to have to, of course, set these manually to make sure that they actually have the correct values again. Okay, well, while that's compiling, I'm going to take a drink and think about what other news things have happened. Heard that Far Cry 5 was apparently the fastest selling game, or the best selling game of 2018 so far, which is not exactly unexpected. Let's see, so this is our defense section. We do want that to have a completed alpha of 0. We do want offense section to be 0.25. Something else actually that I should probably do is make this duration a value that we can adjust. So let's go ahead and go to move my clips around because I got way too many of them. I got too many scripts. Let's see, completed alpha. Let's go ahead and say serialized field. You know what, we'll put this after the alpha. So serialized field, protected, float, what do I want to call this? Complete fade duration is equal to, we'll say 1F by default. Let's go ahead and tooltip that. And we're just going to say duration for, well, duration to fade the label when, that's a terrible, duration for fading the label when it is completed or completed and other labels still remain. Okay. So let's go ahead and set our offense and defense sections to, oh crap, I need to go to attack section behavior actually and set that up. So let me copy this. While that's going on, trying to think, is there anything else really going on in the gaming space right now? It's kind of a slow time of year because everyone's getting ready for E3. And they don't really tend to do much. And by they, I mean the AAA industry. Obviously, there are indies doing stuff, but okay. So we're gonna say behavior dot complete fade duration is equal to complete fade duration. Oops. Go ahead and copy that. Hit save. Paste this over. Cool. Cool. Let's go to our attack section behavior, all the way down here. And we're going to change this to complete fade duration. All right. The reason that I wanted to make that a variable is because I can see having the defense ones fade out like half a second as opposed to a full second. It's hard to say. I really can't think of anything else going on in the game space right now. Um, oh yeah, right. I guess Oculus Go launched. That's Oculus's new like. It's basically Gear VR, but without the phone. Like it's just integrated into the headset. I think it's something like $200. But I don't know. I don't really see much. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just don't see any personal use out of something like that. Um, okay, so that works. Let's go ahead and flip it so that we type in the defensive ones first. Um, clear there. Because I feel like it's too weak of a hardware setup to really do anything impressive without. Because the whole point of the Oculus Go is that you don't have to be tethered to a computer, and you're not, I guess, limited by your phone, which is weird because we were talking about it at work today, and the processing or the processors on those things aren't really that great. So it's not even a middle step from phone to computer. It's just like awkwardly there. Oh crap! Right, not doing that. Okay. Oh, and I didn't spell it out fast enough. Okay, but that did have it fade out all the way, and that's all I cared about. Although I'll try it one more time because I might have taken too long and it might have faded out naturally on its own. So we'll see what that looks like if I just immediately type dodge. Clearly, I need to work on my typing speed though. Man, just not that good. All right, let's go ahead and say battle. And then we're going to say left. Not type anything here yet. Okay. All right. So the next thing I do need to do is we don't have the rest of the combat set up yet, but for multi-word phrases like the "this is an attack," you currently have to hit space, but you probably shouldn't have to hit space. So I'm going to go ahead and get to that real quick. So I'm typing this, and then if I try to type is, it's going to fail. I have to hit space, and then we can do this. But it really shouldn't. Spaces are too awkward. You can't really show spaces have been typed very well. If you're paying attention to when we actually get to that, if you look at the space between this and is, when I type space, you'll notice that this and is get farther away. That's because the space is made larger once you type it in. So you can kind of notice it, but it's too subtle, I think, for a reliable indicator of where you are. And obviously, so right now if I type space, look at the space between this and is, you'll notice that they move slightly. But it's such a small movement that it's not really a viable visual indicator of what you have typed. And then of course you might have people that aren't really sure where they are, if they have typed space or not, and then they might start typing and it's like, oh no, it's not working. So I need to make it so that and we've kind of done this in the past where you can type space if you want, but you do not have to. And I'll probably tie that to like a bonus. If you type spaces, then maybe you'll get like one extra attack or something. But it's a weird usability situation. And I think we can come up with a way to handle this. It just means that we have to be a little clever about this. So we need to go to, let's see. I'm going to go to my combat attack label. And this is where things are going to get weird. So this is the refresh label function, and this is what actually will adjust the label's rich text tags to make it shift size and color as you type it. But what we need to do is we need to basically handle this current index in a different way than we currently are. So up here in check input, how this works is when you press a key, it sends that string out to the label that's active if one is. If one's not active, then it searches to see if one matches, or if one starts with the letter matching what you typed. Um, so let's assume all that's gone through. You have a current attack already set up and you're typing. What we currently do is we say, does the key that you've input equal the current char? Well, actually, we check if it equals the string at the current index. Now, that's not actually ideal. Well, I mean, it is for now. But when we have multiple words per phrase, it becomes problematic. So what we need to do is we need to check, is the char at the current index is it white space? If it is white space, then we want to actually compare the key that you pressed to the following char. But we don't want to do that if the key that you pressed is the space key. So I actually need to debug this real quick. I want to hold on. Go to find all references, input string. Okay, never mind. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to debug.log key of 0. We're going to convert that to an int because I need to know what my space key numerical value is. If it has one, I'm actually not sure. I mean, it must have a string value because it is a space. So I just want to see what that is so that I can compare it. And if it is space, I need to make sure that it's not, that the existing char is not also space. So let's go ahead and let that compile. We're going to just go through here and I'm going to hit space to see what it does because it should log something. Okay, so do we have anything? Oh, right, we can probably get rid of these behavior stops. Get rid of that. Wait, really? Offense section behavior just calls base? Why do we care? Oh, that's right, because I wanted to put in the debug there. Okay, so we can get rid of that completely then. Let that compile. I'm going to take a drink. Talking so much. Dry mouth. All right. Let's clear this stuff out. And I have no idea why you're not updating, but I'll clear you out again. All right. I'm going to hit play. And once I start the attack, I'm just going to hit space a bunch of times. This does actually get into an interesting question. Should I penalize you for hitting space? Not like in a phrase that has different words and therefore a space would be useful, but in like left or in the first section where there's left or right, there's no spaces. Like right now, nothing really happens. But okay, it looks like 32 is our numeric value for that. So that means we're going to go over here to combat attack label and so we're going to have to say so if no, hold on. Okay. So we're going to say if key of 0, cast that to an int, is equal to 32, and attack message of current index is, I guess we'll also convert that to an int. So if both of those are equal to 32, that means that it is a space, and therefore I need to do some weird stuff. So if that's the case, then I want to say, basically just copy this whole thing, paste this in here, and we're going to say if key.equals attack message current index plus 1, not toString. Okay, compare that. If current index is equal to 0, that can't happen. Like, there should never be a space before that. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to say current index plus equals 2 instead of current index plus plus. Because if you are typing into a space, oh shoot, nope, time out. This is not what I want. Excuse me. Sneezed. Ugh. Okay. So what I want to do here is if, geez, I don't actually want to do this if both the input you made and the current index character is space. I only want to do this if the current index is space and the key you pressed is not. So I actually want to do this in reverse. And this does not equal that. Because if you're pressing space, then I actually just want to treat that like normal. But if you're pressing something else, then I want to basically check to see if the key that you input is equal to the current index plus 1. So past the space. So that means that I need to... Let me think. How do I want to do this? I need to... So this part should work, but now I need to handle the fail state, which should be this. So it's kind of annoying that I have some duplicate code, but it's not the worst. At least it's only a couple of lines. So I think that will work. Let's give it a shot. Let's try it. And while that is compiling, I need to blow my nose real quick. All right. I think I'm back. Hold on. All right. Now I'm back. It is the most awkward thing to have to blow your nose when you have a mic on your head. It really it just makes it really awkward to hold the Kleenex. Okay. So let's take a look at this, and now I should be able to type the word without typing space. At least in theory. So let's find out if that works. Okay, we're gonna do battle. Go left, and then this. Yay! Oh no! Backspace does not like that, though. Okay, so we can't do backspace. Which I guess that means that we actually want to make this... Oh, really? So I gotta move the whole... Yeah, I gotta move this whole chunk into that. Gross, why? I don't want to do that. Now, hold on. I might be able to... Oh, I guess I could just do this. And make sure that the key we've pressed does not equal 8. That should basically force it to fall through. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so let's save. Let's let that compile and see what that does. All right. Oop. All right. All right, we are going to battle. We're going to go left. I'm going to say this is backspace, backspace, backspace. So, oof. I kind of feel like the reverse should be true. So if the current index is space and you hit backspace, it should probably go back 2 spaces. So I probably actually don't want that. I should say pretty much this. So we're going to go ahead and copy this in. It's very unfortunate that I have to end up doing this, but we're going to say minus equals 2, and that should work. Yep, no, we need all of that. So, okay. I think that will handle things as we would expect. Just let that compile and try it. So the reason that I'm that I'm going through all the trouble to have combat labels be this forgiving is because, one, if it's too strict, then people who can't type very well will have trouble with this. But two, excuse me, cancer. That's why. But two, I also want to make sure that when people are typing, whether they're good or bad, that they have a pleasant experience. And I need to make sure that we have proper feedback given. So if you type backspace when you're at a white space character, it won't really give you much feedback that you've hit backspace. To you as the player, it might look like you hit backspace and nothing happened, and that shouldn't really ever be the case. So we're gonna go ahead and say battle again. Try this out. I'm gonna go ahead and backspace. And this is and back. Oh crap! That's not doing anything. Okay. Oh shoot! That's right. I actually need to. Oh. Oh. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? So shoot. Okay. No. I'm going to change this, actually. I'm going to move this. If our end key is equal to 8, we're going to do something special. Else, we'll do this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, so if you hit the backspace key, then we want to usually go back by 1. But if, let's see, I'm going to say if current index is greater than that's a good point. Yeah, that's what it is. So if our current index is greater than 1, no, I guess it's just if it's greater than 0, that should be fine. So if it's greater than 0 and int attack message of current index minus 1 is equal to 32, then we're going to say current index minus equals 2. Else, we're going to do current index minus minus. So this should be like a catch-all, and basically say if our current index is greater than 0, and so if we hit backspace, our current index is greater than 0, and the previous index, so one iteration down, is a space key, or a white space char, then we want to actually go back by 2. Otherwise, we're just going to go back by default by 1. And I think that will actually get rid of the need for this whole chunk of code. We won't need this. We will not need that. And I don't even think we're really going to need any of this either. So I'm just going to go ahead and comment that out for now. Oh, right. There we go. Okay, let's just see if that works. I think that's actually a much better way of handling it. That makes the code a lot cleaner. And let's see. Blah, 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 blah. That's all good. And then I will pay attention to the cat because she has such a terrible life. Doesn't get all of the attention that she demands as soon as she mentions it. Okay, let's go ahead and hit play. All right, so we're going to go ahead and battle again. Go left. Say this is backspace, backspace. Nice. Okay. Cool. So that works. Let's go ahead and type it through one more time, make sure that everything works as I expect. And then hopefully we will have a combat system that allows you to type spaces if you want them or ignore them if you don't. Obviously, we already ignore capitalization. We don't care if you use upper or lowercase stuff. Let's go ahead and use battle. But it's nice to have this ability to ignore white space. Left. This is and backspace, backspace. Boom, 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 boom. See, that's just much better visually because you can easily tell where you are in the word. White space characters are just too hard to work with. Too hard to demand that the player works with. If they want to, they can, but it's too hard to demand it, I think. So, okay, that works pretty much as well as I would expect. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of these. Get rid of this. That means that I guess that's all we really needed. Okay, cool. I think that actually ends up making my total line count about the same. Actually, that's a lie. I got like a whole other section here, don't I? At the very least, it's not that bad now. So we'll go ahead and let that compile. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is probably add a success sound effect. Let's go ahead and come up here. We have misspelling. Let's go ahead and add a fade color, misspell. Misspell. Oh, I don't actually do that here, do I? Let's see. Does it make sense to have the success sound on the prefab or on the behavior? Because we have the misspell sound on the prefab. I would kind of think that would be the same then. I guess. Yeah, I think we'll want it on the prefab. So let's go ahead. Well, actually, I don't know. Let's take a look at the inspector for these things because they're getting pretty big. So I would need to have another int field on here. Well, not another int field. It would be a drop down. It's doable. Not ideal, but it's doable. Versus having it on the basic attack, which again is getting pretty long just because of the sheer amount of components that we have on here. Also, something that I do need to do is I need to set this event camera to be something whenever it's instantiated, because if I don't, then I believe every frame it's going to constantly search for camera.main, and that is terrible on performance. So that is the next thing we're going to do. But for now, I guess we'll fade it here. We'll put it here. It's just kind of weird because I have the completed alpha and fade durations here. I don't really know. I do know that I'm going to go to my attack section clip, and I'm going to make my completed alpha a range from 0f to 1f. Okay. So I guess we'll put it here. We might as well. Makes more sense. Serialized field, private int, not private either. It's going to be protected. Protected int completed complete sound is equal to 0. We'll go ahead and say not tooltip, but we're going to say sound ID. Okay, and I think that's fine for now. Let's go ahead and we need to go to our offense section clip. We're going to go ahead and say behavior dot complete. Oh right, those don't exist yet. Text section behavior. There we are. Go up here. Public int complete. Crap. What did I call it? Complete sound is equal to 0. Come up here. Complete sound is equal to complete sound. Nice. Let's go up here. Section clip. Paste that in. Okay. Then we need to on attack section behavior on complete. So let's see, on attack began, on attack complete. Here we are. We're going to say if complete sound does not equal 0, then we're going to say sound manager dot play, and then we're going to give it complete sound, giving it also the transform value, which is going to be, oh really? Oh, there it is, origin. And we'll just put it on our label dot transform. Go ahead and we'll just parent it. I don't think it'll really matter much, but we'll do that either way. Okay. I think that's all we're really going to need to do. We will, I suppose, want to load in our splash fade scene so that I can select from those sound effects, but that shouldn't take too long. And then we can move on to some minor optimizations. The bread and butter of my life. A couple of things. First up, we're going to clear this. And second, we are going to, where is my scene? Of course, it's under test, so it's going to actually be here. Scenes, other, splash fade. Okay. So now I should be able to actually select these things. So complete sound. You know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and select my sound manager here. Sound manager. Combat. Let's take a look at this. Well, none of those are really what I was... okay. Well, I guess we're going to listen to some sound effects. Let's see. Standard assets, asset store, universal sound effects. Let's look for... I don't really know what it would be called. Basically, I kind of want a higher pitch sound to make it obvious that you succeeded versus the lower pitched, like, or I forget which it is. I think it's that, I believe. So that's the fade effect. We probably want something slightly longer and a little higher pitched, although that's actually pretty highly pitched. So let's go ahead and impacts. Let's see if something stands out. I just want to hear this. Mwah! Perfect. Oh wait, no, there's a positive version. Perfect. That's what we'll play every time. Okay. See, it's I don't know if I really want a note sequence like that. I don't know if I want a melody, but like this brevity is kind of what I'm aiming for, but it's not just a sound effect. Obviously not quite. Oh, actually, you know what? What's nice about making this the part of the clip is that I can actually make these success sound effects different per segment. So if I wanted to, I could actually have like a progression. Oh, that's interesting. That could be really cool, actually. So think like as you progress, the pitches get higher and higher. So the first time you succeed, it's like doon. Second time is doon. Then the third time is doon. And then the final one is just da 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 da. You know, whatever. Um, oh, that's really nice, actually. I like that. Okay. Okay. But the problem is, for now, I don't really have. I don't really have a good choice. Not quite what I. No, can't just be one note. That's actually not bad. That was kind of what I was thinking. We might go ahead and do that. Ah, dang it! I did that really annoying thing that I do. Bright voice. Here we are. Let's go ahead and select. Where are you? Combat. I'm gonna lock this. Back up to here. And we had bright voice, I believe. Yes. Okay, we're gonna make that an audio effect. Not bad. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm gonna drag in a couple of different ones so we can try them out. Let's see. It's not bad. Probably a little too ethereal. Oh, that's actually almost perfect. What are these called? Their names are like way too long. They're so long that I can't actually see them. Ugh. Okay. So let's see. Okay, I kind of want to use. Oh, those are keys. Crap. I kind of want to use these in sequence. So like, just do that in reverse. So the first time you type something, it's second one is, the third one is. That kind of would be cool. So I'm gonna do that. Okay. Let's go ahead and rename that in sequence so that I don't have to guess what these are. Woof. So combat, success, harp 3, okay, followed by combat, success, harp 2, followed by combat, success, harp 1. So that would essentially be I think that kind of makes sense in terms of oral flow. I don't like that one. It's too short. We'll call this combat success. I'll just do that, I guess. Okay, so let's go ahead, go back here, let's unlock that. We'll go to left, select this, attack section. So on complete, we are going to do combat success harp 2 for this. For you, I don't know. I don't want to do bright. How about log hit? Not that. I might actually need some quick one-off ones for defense stuff, so let's see. No. No. Not piano. Ooh, ukulele. Wait, is that ukulele? That can't be ukulele. That's spelled right. That's okay. It's spelled with a C. Um, It's a little too much, I think. For defensive ones that you don't actually succeed just by typing them in, you just don't fail for typing them in. I don't actually know what would be best. Too dramatic. Way too dramatic. No. Okay, little... Probably not the best. I honestly don't know. I really don't want to use, like, music effects. Yeah, because these are going to be, like, way too long. Ooh! That was very loud. Do I have something... I want something really, really short. Not that. No. I need something short and not really droning. No. Nope. It's gotta be short and to the point. Nope. Audio can be rather frustrating sometimes. Wow, definitely not. Okay, let's see. No. Okay, well, not having good luck here. I guess I'll just use a placeholder effect for now. Whatever, that's fine. Let's go ahead and go to phase 1 initial timeline. We will make this be... Where are you? Combat success harp 1. Okay. So that should now have effects for all of them when they're completed. So let's try that. Oh, shoot. Oh, that's going to do some weird stuff. Oh, shoot. That's going to be really stupid and weird, and I don't want you to do that. Don't do it. Whew. Okay, we got to unload this. Because it had all sorts of things in that scene that were going to try to mess me up. It was going to try to load into the main menu and do all that other stuff. That's what Splash Fade is supposed to do, but we only needed it very briefly for some sound manager stuff. Okay, let's see. So we're going to go ahead and do battle. Oops. Nice. It worked. That's the important thing. Okay, so we have those sound effects working. That was the other part of fading that I wanted to do. I wanted to have an auditory indicator that you have successfully typed everything. And next, let's go ahead and set up our the camera on the labels, which is not the best. Okay, I need to... Let's see, where are my attack labels? I don't think that this has a reference to my canvas, which is not ideal. That means that I'm going to have to basically get a component on every label, and I don't want to do that. So instead, maybe I should come up with a common script I can use here. Let's see, world space. Okay, I don't have anything for that, so let's go to UGUI utility. Well, I guess it would be under utility. Let's go ahead and create C# script. I'm going to call this world space camera. Oh God, what a terrible name. World space camera setup. Ugh, what a terrible name. Okay. So this script is basically just going to do one thing, and let's see, require component type of canvas. We're just going to go ahead and say serialize. Serialize field. Private canvas. We're going to say serialize field private camera event camera, and then let's just go ahead and say private void on enable if event camera, wow, that's terrible, event camera is equal to null, which for the most part it will. In fact, jeez. This should probably be static. Shoot. No, it shouldn't be. Okay. Although it does probably not need to be serialized. So this script is going to be very basic, and what it's probably going to do is just say on enable, okay, do I have an event camera? Which will be null all the time, actually. Well, actually, it won't always be null. So if we don't have an event camera, then we're going to search the scene for camera.main. So we'll say event camera is equal to camera.main. Okay. And then we're just going to say if the event camera is still null after that, we're going to do an update. Well, no. That is really not good. I could put that in update. So I could do like private void update if event camera. If event camera is equal to null, event camera is equal to camera.main. And we'll say if event camera does not equal null here, then we will say I guess actually we'll go ahead and just reverse this if not equals. Then we're going to say if event camera does not equal null after we try to get it, then we're going to say canvas dot world camera is equal to event camera. Camera used for sizing the canvas when the screen space camera also used in the camera. Yes, so that is what we have to do because it's stupid. We're just going to do this. I hope this will do everything that I expect and it won't be weird. Okay, so all I should have to do here is attach this script to anything with a canvas that's world space, which will be our combat labels, and then it should automatically resolve that canvas's event camera. It's very frustrating because I don't actually need an event camera, but apparently Canvas does. Like, I'm not doing anything with events, but Canvas is just set up in such a way that it demands one, from what I understand. So if I don't assign that, then it's just going to be a performance hit for no real reason. So let's go ahead, and it is frozen because it's compiling. Okay, drink break. Okay. Scroll down, and we are going to. We don't need the sound collection. Where's my prefab? There it is. Basic attack. All right, we're just going to put that script on there. I'm also going to go ahead and put it like right next to the canvas there. We'll put that on here. And I will go ahead and minimize that because I don't actually need it to be open. Oh my, it really did not like that. I will probably on enable here also say if canvas is equal to null, I'll say canvas is equal to get component canvas. Just a minor thing in case I ever forget to assign it. Okay, so I am hoping that this will now allow it to just have that event camera be set without me having to manually set that. Excuse me. I'm a little sad. I was hoping I could make it a static variable so that it would always be settable, but the problem with that is... Oh, jeez. Hold on. There we go. The problem with making it a static variable is that there could be potentially situations where, like, something finds the player's or the player character's camera, which the player character doesn't get destroyed; they get recycled. So it would never get set back to null. And then when these things spawn in, when these labels spawn in, they'll be facing the player's camera, which is not what we want. So let's go ahead and once that compiles, hit clear. Let's give this a try. And I yawn. I actually don't want this to be in maximize on play mode because I can't really see those things in maximize on play. I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm going to pause it anyway. One here. Okay. So let's see. Basic attack. Okay, seems to be fine. That's about what I would expect. I am a little sad that I have to constantly get main camera, but that is only between the scenes that these things, or that these labels will exist in, so it's not that bad of a thing. At least I don't think so. So, okay, so that's a minor optimization. The next thing, I'm trying to think of something small because it's almost been 2 hours. What would be the next good thing to work on? Hello, Dustin Ham. Welcome back. How are you doing tonight? I wonder. Well, let's go ahead and play through it and see what stands out as needing polish, or if nothing does, then we'll try to move on to failure timelines. Make sure that stuff works. Also, fixing this stupid null reference that shows up every time. Driving me nuts. Okay, we're gonna do battle. I'm gonna go left. That was super weird. It like jumbled and then stopped. Okay. So, yeah, I think we're... First thing I'm going to do is fix this. Okay, what do I want to do here? I need something to clean these things up. So... Because my labels aren't doing it, which is very sad and disappointing. Maybe it... no, can't do that. okay. Crap, that's really disappointing. Doing okay, smashing my face on some API stuff. That's always fun. I'm probably going to be doing that within the next couple of days myself. Um, I am doing so-so. Uh, as always, we'll see how the Devstream goes. It's going pretty well so far, though. We got all kinds of stuff from sound effects to partial fades to nice multiple attacks going on. It's coming along. Um, yeah, we're looking, or well, I've been meaning to get into some Twitch API stuff for my avatar recently, so I might check out some of that stuff, see what I can hook up to them, because I would like to integrate chat into my avatar. That would be really really cool. I just haven't taken the time to actually do that. Um, and who knows, maybe I could do a custom overlay or something like that. Like my own custom extension. How cool would that be? It would probably suck, but it would be cool for me. What API stuff have you been working on? I did not mean to hit play there, but it is fine that I did. So I need to fix that. So the problem that we're having here with this null reference is that these lists are not being cleared for some reason, um, which is really infuriating. Oh, that's why. I gotcha. I gotcha. So I'm going to go ahead and say if labels of I is equal to null. We're just going to hit continue. Okay. Okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. I wonder if that would explain why it was stopping me. It's because it was on its cleanup behavior throwing null because the labels had been recycled already. Ah, I get it now. Okay. I get it. Twitch API is fun. It probably changed a lot since I looked at it years ago. Yeah, I think about a year ago they did some like complete redo of their Twitch API. They call it like version 5 or no, the new Twitch API or something like that. And it's supposed to support things like webhooks and um, like a bunch of other cool things that should make it easier for developers. But I haven't really gotten into it. Like I haven't dug deep into it yet, just because it's been one of those things where it's like I'm curious, but I don't know if I can legitimize sinking the time into it or rationalize it. So let's go ahead. We're gonna go left so you can see all that stuff working. Okay. And let's go ahead and stop. Nice, we didn't get any null references. I'm going to hit play again. Make sure that we didn't get any more null references. That would be really, really nice. Just and... Dang it, that was going to be super dramatic, except Unity froze on me, so... Yes, it worked! Hooray! It was just a stupid thing on my part then. So that's nice. We stop. Cool. So fix that bug. That's a nice little thing. Looking at the Patreon API, I'm going to put everyone's name in the credits. Oh, cool. Oh, do you have a Patreon? I didn't know that. That is cool. Let's see, what else do I have here? I don't yet, but I might. What are you going to be doing Patreon for? If you don't mind me asking. I'm not sure if it's like impolite to ask people what they do Patreons for. It seems like something that could be impolite. Oh, hello. Hello, timeline. Driving something that it shouldn't be driving. Interesting. That's probably just a graphical error, I'm assuming. Yes, it was. Okay. That's interesting, though. Okay, so we have fixed up our world space canvas event cameras. That stuff's working. We fixed the null references affecting our cleanup. Let's start taking a look at our failure states. So let's go over here to our initial timeline, select our offense section clip, and So I added a field for fail on inaction, which basically says that if you don't type this label, then you will fail. Um, and not all labels will need that, or not all attack sections will need that. Well, actually, is that irrelevant? ah, excuse me. The consumption, it's coming for me. If I do, I want to have it done upright. I also make games and plan on releasing them all for free, but they're not free to make. Pay for hacking plan, some servers, etc. Don't expect to make anything, but a few people ask if I'm setting something up. Okay. Yeah, I've seen a couple of people do that. Just like have a couple of low key Patreons just to have them enjoy making small stuff that people can play or mess around with. So that's not unusual. That's pretty cool though. Um, well, once you get into that API, I'll have to hit you up. I'm curious about what their API looks like and what all you can do with that. Um, I didn't even know they had an API. I guess it would make sense for things like pulling in credits, but I can't really think about what else you would do. Well, I guess they could have things for like hooking into signing up to the Patreon, um, like inside of an application or something like that. I guess. Anyway, so fail on inaction. That actually might be. Um, no, I lied. I do need that bool because I do plan on having some sequences where if you don't, there are optional paths that you can take that may or may that basically will show up for a short amount of time, but you don't have to take them. So if you don't type that one in, it shouldn't have a fail state. So I do need fail on inaction. I probably should actually set that up to be default to true. Um, where are you? There you are. Fail on inaction probably should be set to true actually, because most things are going to be true for that, but some will be false. Is your current project that you've been tweeting about, is that something that you're planning? Like, is that what you would be doing for Patreon, for example? All right. Let's see. So fail on an action is true. Now, for failures to happen, when failures happen, we need to transition into a failure timeline. So that's going to be, for now, it's going to be pretty basic. It's just going to be lerping, I think, a camera shot in Cinemachine. That's really all we're going to be doing. Um, but in the long run, we would be doing animations, so like actual character positioning and stuff. Oh god, that's going to be so complicated. Oh man, the downside to this, I am not going to lie, is it's going to be really painful for me to make all of this animation content. ah, but it's going to be so much cooler. So what can you do? Um, let's see. I'm using their webhook actually because I don't really need as much information, and it's probably morally wrong to ping for that much data all the time. Yeah, that makes sense. Probably cover all my games if I ever finish one. Finishing is overrated. It's much better to just launch in early access and then just always be in early access forever. Never stop being in early access. That's what's important. Okay, so these guys are all true. Let's go to the initial timeline. We're going to set up a fail timeline for this, I guess. So let's skip ahead. And oof, this is oof. I'm gonna need child timelines of timelines. Gross. Okay. So we're gonna say fail time. Oop, not that. This is actually gonna go to playable director. We're gonna call this our fail timeline. We will not play on awake, and we are going to need our asset. So let's go ahead and say create timeline. Call this troll combat intro fail. So I guess that's going to be my naming convention is dash fail after whatever it should fail from. That's going to be way more animation content. This is probably not a good idea. But what are you going to do? I'll do that too. Still making that ASCII game, but I'm a bit burnt out, so I'm mashing together a puzzle game with a friend. Okay. So we're going to call these cameras. Actually, is that? I call it camera. That's what it is. Okay, we'll make this a Cinemachine track. We will give it our brain. We're going to add a Cinemachine shot clip, which will, I guess, lerp from relaxed phase 1. Let's go ahead and duplicate. No, let's duplicate this. We're going to slide that. We'll make this 3 seconds long. Make this start at 2. No, 1. Okay, and then we'll probably only make this last about 3 seconds as well. I think that's fine. And we will have this, instead of being relaxed phase 1, it will be our idle camera. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit save. I will hook that up. So we're going to go to our initial timeline, offense section. We're going to have our fail timeline be that. So now we need to hook it up so that it'll actually call that fail timeline when we fail. So let's go to of things that I don't need up anymore. Combat attack label. I might need that. Combat attack criteria. I do not need. Defense section behavior, offense section behavior. I probably don't need either of those. No, I definitely don't need either of those because they're just overriding those functions. Okay. So we need. Make sure I'm not referencing this right now first. Failure. Oh, wait. Actually, crap. Hold on. Go up here. Failure timeline. Are we doing anything with you? Not yet. Okay. And we're definitely not doing anything with you yet, right? Okay. So, on attack. Let's see. Fail attack. Find all references. Oh, interesting. Nothing is happening. Let's go up to combat attack label. I should have an event for this. On input failed, I believe. Find all reference. Oh, no, that's if I misspelled it. Okay. Do I do anything with you? No, it's just those 2 spots. Okay. Ooh, that's not good. Maybe it's just on attack end that I want, actually. Oh, except it's never done like that. Okay. Right, because we don't actually care about that. If the combat attack label doesn't fire to get to the end, then that means that hold on. Here on behavior pause and attack gets called. That's not actually viable. I guess what we would do here is say if completed or attacks completed is equal to 0, I guess. I guess I can do less than or equal to 0. Not that it really matters. I'll just do it equal to 0. And we're going to say if fail on inaction and attacks completed is equal to 0, then we are going to want to say, what do we want to say? Final references here. Okay, where do you go? Attack end. I guess we would call fail attack. I think. Fail attack and then we would do an else here and have end attack be called. I think that makes sense, right? Because we're essentially saying when we get to the end of our behavior and we pause, if we are supposed to fail on an action and we have completed 0 attacks, then we should fail. Otherwise, we should simply end because we've completed an attack and therefore something has been chosen. I think that makes sense. Let's go to definition, and attack fail. Is anything referencing that? On attack fail, this is in our mixer. That's good. Let's go to definition. And okay, so we do skip ahead, which is what we would expect. And then we need to... oh, jeez. Then we need to fail. Oh, geez, double crap. What happens if multiple ones fail? Oh, geez, that's not great. Yo, Mr. Troll here. Green as always. It's a good color for trolls. Good color. Hungry? Well, if you're a troll and you're green, like you say, then as far as I remember, Norwegians make great snacks. So I need to... crap. What am I going to do with this? So it's possible to have segments like the left segment here, where I have a defense clip, and if you fail to type that, it should fail you, and an offense clip, where if you fail to type that, it should fail you. Both of them might have their own timelines that they would want you to fail in. Oh, that's really not good. Or, no, that wouldn't work. I was going to say I could set this up so that if you, I don't know if I want to do that. Basically, if you fail an attack and it doesn't have a fail on an action, but it is a defense section, then maybe I could just take health away from you, but let you continue. I don't know about that. That seems more in line with what I would expect from this type of mechanic. Like just be able to plow through it and take the damage. But yeah. That might be the better way to go. Although in this specific case, like with the troll, that might not be what we do. But allowing for that to be the case might make sense. Because, well, because if there are segments where there's just like a bunch of defense things on screen and you try to type them all, maybe 1 or 2 get through. But should you fail in that case and get booted back to the beginning, or should you just have to tank that and then you have to consider that on your next attack? You have to be thinking that through and be like, I don't have enough health to tank another hit like that. So, oh jeez. And then if I do that, then that means that if you get to 0 health in the middle of a combat attack, you need to just get booted out and then fail. It's a tough call there. I kind of like that idea because it lets me do some more creative things with combat. Because then you can have legitimately like a bunch of defense attacks that you have to make, but you can choose to attack and then try to defend yourself as best as possible and tank some of that damage. But the downside to that is like you have 3 health to start, so you could really only tank 2 hits. That's not really a lot. That's really not a lot. I do not like that. Make the best snack, but my body burns calories. Like insert offensive joke here. So, what to do here? What to do here? I like that idea. I really do. Um, but it does mean that I need to change my attack section behavior to uh, well, I'm not liking this, but I guess let's go ahead and say virtual on all of these. Virtual. It might fix some problems you have. Fix all problems. I don't know. Seems like that's cheating. I feel like I should have at least some trouble. Can't use just cheat codes all the time. Or, spell correctly, apparently. Okay. So, okay. So we'll keep this like this. And then we'll go to... Did I really close that? Apparently I did. Well, that was stupid of me. Let's go to defense section behavior, go to definition. We're going to override complete attack. Oh, sorry, not complete attack. We're going to override fail attack. And then we're going to say if attack completed attack attacks completed. Wow, that is not how you spell if. If attacks completed is greater than 0, then we'll just call base dot. No, that's completely wrong. I did that wrong. Hold on. Override end attack. That's what I want to do. So we're going to say if attacks completed is greater than 0, then we will call base dot end attack. Else, we're going to do fail attack. So, timeout, timeout. Yes, if attacks completed is... Oh, no, that's not correct, actually. I want to say if attacks completed is greater than or equal to labels.count. That's a little awkward, but I think that's actually what I want to do. Otherwise, we will fail attack. Oh, jeez. No. Well, that's fine, I guess. I was wondering if maybe I should have individual labels cause individual damage, but I think it would be better if I just do one per wave. Because most likely in situations where I'd have multiple labels, they would be staggered, so they wouldn't be the same behavior anyway. They would be different ones. So they would all have their own individual damage counters anyway. And then if I have one that's like three at the same time, then I feel like those should just do one damage if if any of them connect. For unlimited fail free code, I like it. I like it. Um, let's see. I'm gonna say though, I was actually expecting some type of bird there because you used chicken there in the previous comment. So gotta be more careful with your word choice, man. If you start using poultry all the time, people are gonna get you're gonna get predictable. So I think this will do what I want. And let's see here. That actually only partially solves my problem. Um, hmm. So does that mean that I would just never? No, that's not good enough. Oh, jeez, we're also getting into weird territory with damage. Because what happens in this case where I have a defense and an offense section clip? What if you fail both of them? Do you take 2 damage or do you take 1? I guess with the logic that I was setting up, you would take 2, 1 for the defense failure and 1 for the attack failure. That does make sense. Okay. But then we still have the problem of what happens when you have 2 clips that both fail if you don't type anything. Oh shoot, that's my problem actually. So I actually need to go back to here, and I need to say crap. No. Actually, so I want to say if not fail on inaction or that, and let's go to attack section behavior. Go back up to here and stop. If fail on an action and attacks completed is equal to 0. I actually would say I need to redo that. I need to say if attack completed is less than labels.count, which is problematic because my labels are cleared by now. So that means I need to move this down to here. Okay, and just for convenience, I'm also going to put that there. Make it look a little bit better. Okay, so, but again, this doesn't solve my other problem. I need to figure out a way for me to determine which cutscene should take priority. Oh man, that is so freaking brutal. I don't know what to do here. I guess I am going to go to my attack section mixer. On attack fail. That doesn't really help me, does it? You're back. You missed some poultry puns and me wondering out loud about what the best approach to solve failed cutscene priority is. We've also set up. We've decided to make it so that if you fail a defense section and that defense section does not have a director for its failure timeline, then you'll just take direct damage. Now we don't have damage integrated into the new system yet, but that's going to be the way we go. So I'm actually going to, I guess, go ahead and put that here and say if the behavior has no failure timeline, just take away 1 HP. We've also decided that HP will be deducted not per label that you miss, but per attack section that you missed. And that's because in most cases, attack sections are going to be staggered, so they'll have 1 label but be staggered themselves. So basically it would be however many labels you miss, you would take 1 damage. But in situations where you might have like 3 different pronged, an attack that has 3 different labels and you have to fend off all 3 of them, if any one of those get to you or any number of them get to you, then you would just lose 1 health instead of however many there were. But again, that's like a future thing. Take away 1 HP per section, comma, not per label, just so I don't forget about that. Okay. And now I'm going to debug it to see if on attack fail gets called multiple times before on graph stop, which I will be amazed, but we'll find out. So I'm going to say debug.log failure, or just fail. And then here we're going to say debug.log stop or stow. Okay, because I don't actually know which one of these will execute first. Presumably, once we fail an attack, then it would force the director to its final duration. But I don't know if that means that everything else will then fire on attack fail, or if it means it'll call stop and then fail. So if we only get one fail out of this after an action, then it should mean that it is failing once, then clearing everything, then failing again, which is going to be annoying if that's the case. So let's take a look at this. I'm also curious if this is going to... Oh no, it should be fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this again. We're good. Need to stretch. Get in the carpal tunnels. Not really. Although I'm sure one day I will have that because my wrist already snaps whenever I rotate it. Okay, so we're going to go left here, and I'm going to let... I was worried about that. We did get a fail event. I'm going to let both of these things go. So we might have some invalid... invalid things going on here. We got 3 fail events, which that should not be. Oh, crap. Okay, timeout. I know what it is. I'm going to go to attack section, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to say type is equal to multiple question mark. If that's the case, then we're going to do that. Else, we're going to say 0. Okay. So what I just did here is part of the failure criteria. I wasn't paying attention to this. If our attack section is supposed to be multiple attacks, then we want to make sure that all of our attacks are met, like they've been typed in. If our type is single, then if our attacks are 0, we'll fail. Otherwise, we'll be successful. So let's try that again. I think that will mitigate the failures. I also want to go ahead and pull in this. Although it does look like they all fail before stop is called again. So that is promising. I'm going to say fail plus behavior dot. Can I do name? I can't. Okay, I didn't think I could because it would be a behavior. But that's not exactly right. Director? Am I still using that? I don't think I am. I am not. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't know what to call this. Label prefab? Nope, that's not going to give me anything. Target? Nope. Okay, well, I'll just do fail then. We'll live with whatever it is. Okay, let's go to attack section clip real quick. Attack section clip. Director. Okay, are you being used anywhere? Going to go here. Get rid of you. Save there. Going to go here. Get rid of you. Save there. Going back. Okay, are you referenced anywhere? Nope. Good. Don't need you then. And on our behavior, I need to get rid of it as well. Nice. Cool. Got rid of a whole field. Okay. So it does look like from our console logs that all fails get called before stop is called, which is what I was hoping would be the case. That's good. It means that we should be able to queue up all of our failures and then on stop basically say, okay, do we have any failures? Yes. Okay, what are their priorities and do they have cutscenes? Actually, it would probably be, do they have cutscenes, and then if so, what are their priorities? So basically we'll have an int ID on each of these clips that goes next to failure priority, I guess. It'll go under fail on an action. We'll call it fail priority, and the higher priority one, the highest priority will be the clip that plays, essentially. So that should handle our multiple failures happening at once problem. Although I am going to go ahead and clear this, turn off maximize on play, and I want to see if we still fail on the first section. Because we wouldn't have typed all the labels. We would just type one and then it would automatically transition. So that shouldn't be a fail state, but it was before. But I think we've addressed that. So I want to make sure that that's the case. Battle. What the fuck just happened? We went straight to fail. Okay, that did not. It's because of that, isn't it? Ah, you suck so hard, timeline. I know why it happened. It's because on behavior pause is called before on behavior play, and so we're just like getting down to here and immediately failing. Why does it do this to me? I'm gonna debug what my state is. Debug dot. I can't type. Debug.log playable dot get state. Maybe it's not set to play yet, and if that's the case, I can tell it to just shove off and not worry about it. Stoked for 4 games, this one. Thank you very much. COD 2018. Have they even announced one? Oh, right, there's Black Ops, which won't have a single-player campaign because Activision's like, that takes money and effort. Red Dead Redemption 2. I wish I could be excited about that. I would be so excited if they, for some reason, didn't have a hate boner for money. But, they just really don't want money, I guess. Or like, we could make so much more money if we ported this to PC, but, money's a scary thing. We don't want that. And then Crackdown 3. I don't know. I can't really comment on that one. I never really got into Crackdown. It seemed fine. I just never picked it up. I feel like that's a Microsoft thing too, isn't it? Like Crackdown was only on Xbox? Or am I wrong about that? I feel like it also was on PC, but my point is that it wasn't on PS3 or anything like that. Okay, so there's our fail. So its state is paused. Interesting. So let's go ahead and try this. We're going to say no, hold on. Go ahead and say if playable dot get play state is equal to paused. We're going to return there. We're not going to finish anything. Let's see if that stops it. Peeps who wants money, peeps who don't. Who will win? Probably the peeps who wants money. Because they'll just take it from the peeps who don't. And then they'll win. That's just how it works. I believe that's called capitalism. Actually, that's not really called capitalism. But if anything, I guess that would technically be socio-nationalism? Would that be correct? Oh no, that'd be fascism, right? With people taking money that's not really theirs, but is yours, but they would take it for the government. I feel like that's fascism. Not really communism or anything like that. Okay, so that seems to have done it, and now... Shoot! Are you kidding me? So that's worthless then. God, you suck so hard, timeline. Why do you call pause on all of your clips before you call play? Okay. Well, let me think. What can I do about that? Hard to believe that COD 2015. Which one is that? Was that Infinite Warfare? Or was that that wouldn't have been Modern Warfare 3, would it have? Uh, or was that Black Ops 3? That's hard to remember when those things came out. Um, so I can't use playable play state apparently because it does it is set to pause in both states, which is very very annoying. Um, and it's really annoying because there are three distinct states: playing, paused, or delayed. And I don't really know why you would ever have a delayed one. That's super weird to me, but it means that we can't reliably do this, which maybe I can get around that by doing the original thing that I was doing, which is having a bool. I'm curious if that'll actually work. Protected bool is yeah, is active is equal to false. So here we're going to set is active is equal to true, and then we're going to say down here on behavior pause, if is playing and is active, then we'll say is active is equal to false. Let's try that. See if that stops it. Black Ops 3. Okay. It's funny. I've never I don't see it ever abbreviated as BO3. I always see it abbreviated as BLOPS. Which I always found funny. Just calling it BLOPS 3. It's like, yeah, that's technically correct. It's just such a weird way to shorten it. Oh, man. Call of Duty is pretty fun, though. At least I've always enjoyed the zombie multiplayer stuff in that game. I've thought about getting the remastered Modern Warfare, which I think was Call of Duty 5 officially. That came out in 2006, but they remastered it. But apparently the version that's on Steam is like horrendous. It's just terribly unoptimized, and that just completely destroys any. All right, we're doing good. So that seems to have fixed it. It's very annoying that I have to manually write to a bool to basically handle timeline calling pause before it calls play. I don't have any idea why. Is that Call of Duty 4? Okay, I thought Call of Duty 4 was World at War for some reason, but that might have been Call of Duty 3. Because I remember when Modern Warfare first came out, that was the sub name of it, or the subtitle. It was actually, I believe, called like Call of Duty for Modern Warfare, I think. But then after that, they just dropped it, and it's like it's still Call of Duty, but they marketed it more as like Modern Warfare 3, and then like it's Call of Duty, but it's not really called like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I always thought that was kind of weird about the Call of Duty series. Is like the name Call of Duty is just assumed. It's not really written explicitly, I don't think, on the titles. At least I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm really curious now if that's the case. I wanna check this out because the actual images. Oh no, I guess they do that, don't they? Huh. But yeah, like with Modern Warfare 2, they like had the Call of Duty be super tiny, and Modern Warfare took up most of the space. Um, oh no, it's because they dropped the number. That's what I was thinking of. Because it became after Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, it became Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, then Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. That's what it was. Although I will say, which one was it? It was either Battlefield or Call of Duty. One of them had what could have been a really clever marketing campaign where they had a game called like either Call of Battlefield, or something like that, and it was basically a parody game of games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. And it was a parody game used to market one of those two games. I don't remember which one, but I thought like that's surprisingly clever for those companies, for whichever one did it, because I wouldn't expect them to have the sense of humor and self awareness to actually okay something like that. I would assume that's the sort of thing that you. No, it wasn't Bad Company. Bad Company is just a good game. I really like Bad Company, but it was like a parody game. It wasn't a game like Bad Company where it was more like what would you call Bad Company? It was kind of like a weird, not a deconstruction necessarily, but like it's like Cabin in the Woods kind of like it pokes fun at all the stuff that you would normally see in a Call of Duty / Battlefield game, but it still does those things. Um, anyway, now we need to see what happens when we oh, hello, there we go. When we don't type anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish this one, but I want to see this. So we're going to let both of these fail, and I want to make sure that they both execute as we would expect. Okay, both failed. But stop was not called. Stop was not called. That's not a good thing. You've got to be kidding me. Okay. Why was stop not called? This is all the more jarring because maybe I stopped too soon. Let's try that again. But yeah, Battlefield Hardline. Battlefield Hardline. I felt really bad whenever I heard that when I heard that game was announced because it's just like, oh look, EA's going to kill Visceral. Like as soon as that game was announced, I was just like, oh no, it's happening. EA's just going to eat them alive in front of everyone, and we're all going to watch. So there's the fail, but we don't get to the end. Do you just stop before you get there? You do, don't you? You do. Oh my god. I can't believe it. Why? How? It. How has it not? So will it not stop unless it has something to go to? Like it has to literally, like another thing has to. Maybe it's like a setting. Nope, there's no wrap mode, so there is nothing I can do about that. You've got to freaking be kidding me. Oh my god. So remember EA's old intro on their games? EA game. We ruin everything. Well, see, that's the thing, right? The old intro was fine because they actually were a pretty decent company. Pretty much, I mean, back when Trip Hawkins was doing it, obviously it was, just a fun time. But pretty much as soon as they started cannibalizing their own studios because they deigned to not make AAA perfect, wide reaching titles because it was a niche title, like that's when they kind of just became a vampire, basically. Um, Critter turn Hulk soon. Have you seen Avengers: Infinity War? I have actually. I saw that last Friday. A friend and I decided that we wanted to go see a movie, and we're like, let's go see that. And I figured that either I would see it that weekend or I would see a bunch of spoilers anyway. So it was actually pretty good. Um, so I think I'm gonna have to do some more research on this because this is driving me nuts, and I want to see if other people have come up with solutions for this, or if I'm just using these incorrectly. So I think we might call it a night here. I'm going to look up and see when on graph stop is actually called because I don't think I'm using it correctly. Got to head to sleep. Tomorrow may or may not be a long day. Understandable. I think we're going to sign off here too. So get some rest. It's going to be potentially a long day for me tomorrow too. So um, all right, yeah, I think we're going to call it a night here. I need to do some more research on timeline stuff. Make sure I'm not being stupid and using this in the complete wrong way. And yeah, okay, so quick announcements. Nothing off the top of my head. I guess Saturday, this coming Saturday, I should be able to do a Devstream. I'm not entirely sure. I need to go home and vote, do my civic duties and all that. So that's gonna be a thing. But that's happening on Saturday morning, so I should be back by my Devstream. But just be aware that something may come up. I don't know. I'll probably be up there and get out like by 10 a.m. But just to be sure. It's the best movie in my opinion. For Infinity War, I don't know about that, but I don't really know what my favorite one would be. I guess so. All right, I think we're gonna call that a night. We got pretty far. We got simultaneous attack and actually, I guess I already had that, didn't I? We have nice transition effects. We have crossfading for completed attacks. We have sound effects in for completed attacks now. We have failure states, and we're getting into failure priorities and all that. So, pretty good place I think we've reached over the course of the dev stream tonight. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.